You are listening to the SuperfreakMedia Podcast Network. If you like this podcast, please be sure to show your support and follow us on our other social media platforms. Check out the links listed in the description of this episode to find out more. Thank you. Hallo und willkommen zum SuperfreakMedia Podcast mit mir, deinem Gastgeber, Jonathan Butler. Mein Gäste heute sind Richard Parker, Charlie Clark, Liam Banks und Dan Poppet. Now, you might be wondering why I just did the intro in German.
2-0.
Not 100% because of last night's epic round of 16 match in the Euros. It's 98% because of that. But no, it's because this month we have got a new segment which we are calling Foreign Bodies, in which one of the team will be bringing a piece of world cinema to the table that maybe doesn't have the reach and the exposure that it potentially deserves. And I think Liam's got one with him today, so he can chat about that in a bit. But that's enough of that for now. I'd just like to welcome to the podcast for the first time, Dan.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
That's all right, no problem. Just thinking, it's going to be the first time that the listeners have heard your voice. Do you want to give us a quick intro?
Yeah, so I am also an actor. I've never really worked with SuperfreakMedia before, but yes, I am. I'm Charlie's partner, but I'm. Oh, there's an ice cream van. I am an actor, so I'm hoping to work with SuperFreak. So hopefully, in the coming times, we can work together on something.
It all depends on how this episode goes. If it's
This is the interview. This is the trial.
That's it. And this is the episode that you've come on because it's all about horror games this month. And we hear that Dan is he's a horror game aficionado. And a game aficionado in general. So I'm building you up massively. Yeah. So in case you just massively roll off a cliff now, it's not my fault.
Yeah, no. I think I've sort of set.
You've set a bar.
I've set a bar here. Yeah, big horror game fan and video game fan in general. So yeah, really excited about this one.
No pressure. Yeah.
Nah, not at all.
So as today's episode is all about video games that scared us, I'd like to kick it off with one that scared me as a child. I say as a child, I was probably 15, 16 at the time. So, it's not one of these games where I played it probably too early. But it was on the GameCube, and it was just this was weird for a horror game because horror games didn't show up on the GameCube. Horror games didn't show up on the Nintendo system at all. I think this was the first game that Nintendo published to be rated as M for mature. And it came out in 2002, and it was called Eternal Darkness. Now, I don't know if anyone here has played it, heard of it.
Heard of it, not played it though.
I've played it, and I'm obviously going to let you talk about it, but I'm 100% behind you about the fact it's absolutely terrifying.
Please, somebody's played it. That's class. It is, and it's one of these games that took me by surprise. I think mainly because it was on the GameCube, and for some reason I was going through a strange Nintendo phase where I wanted every single Nintendo console, and basically got an N64 and a GameCube and then stopped. But it was I guess it must have been their attempt to try and bring down the behemoth that is Resident Evil, with their own franchise. And unfortunately, it didn't really catch on. It got excellent reviews. It just didn't sell very well. The one thing that really sticks with me about the game, though, is the thing called the sanity meter. So as you played through the game, you would play as various members of this same family. And your character, from, I think it was like the second level onwards, would have a sanity bar. So they'd have a health bar, a magic bar, and then also a sanity bar. So if spooky things started to happen, they would start to lose their grip on reality. And this kind of manifested itself in multiple different ways. So it could be little things like you would walk into a room and then maybe something wasn't quite in the right place, and you think that's slightly odd. Or you'd walk into a room and there'd be bugs crawling on the walls, and then there wouldn't be. But then other things would happen, like you would walk into a room and then your game would just turn off, and then it would come back on. Or it'd make it look like your TV went all snowy and things like that. I think my personal favourite was you would just be walking around and suddenly your character's limbs would just fall off. And you're like,
oh no.
But
No,
then it would all
thank you.
just come back to normal. And you're like, I'm thinking hello. And then you look at your sanity meter and you're like, I'm going insane. This is class.
I think
so
it's the
cool.
fact. It's the thing where it's like breaking the fourth wall. You sort of feel safe when you're playing it. I know it's like deviating on games, but in Batman Arkham Asylum with Scarecrow, it's that sort of thing where you don't think it's going to break the fourth wall and sort of look like it's damaging the game.
Yeah. It definitely kind of gives it that extra edge. And I know it's one thing that Nintendo were extremely protective about. I think they actually patented the whole sanity meter idea so that nobody else could use it. And then I think for years afterwards, they wanted a sequel. And they wanted to get it made. Well, the studio did at least. And it just never happened. There was various Kickstarters. I think one raised about $750,000, but it just annoyingly wasn't enough to tip it over the edge. So they had to give all the money back. And I think it got quite ugly at one point. But I think it's just one of those games that was a massive surprise, because I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. Especially on the GameCube, which isn't renowned for that sort of game. You think of the GameCube, you think of Smash Brothers, you think of Zelda, you don't think of a horror game. And it was just absolutely class. And this idea, as Dan said, of breaking the fourth wall and sort of making not just, I guess, the character go insane, but you think you're starting to see things starting to happen with the game. You start to question, what is real? Is that room that I've just been into actually part of the game, or is it not? Is it going to just suddenly stop on me at some point and then teleport me back because the last 30 seconds has been a character's hallucination? It was fantastic. I mean, looking back, obviously it came out in 2002. I wonder if I played it again now, would it have the same impact? Probably not, because of the kind of the improvements in the graphics and just general what you expect in terms of gameplay and the control system. It might be a bit janky by today's standards, but to play it when it came out was class.
Can you imagine that? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go on, Rich.
Sure, yeah. Oh, okay. I was just going to say, can you imagine that nowadays in VR?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, no.
It starts glitching out and everything gets weird, and like, they could even start doing some funky stuff with controllers and stuff where you can get the things that like feedback on controllers, or the weird like muscle things where it like twitches your muscles. If your controller did that to you and just made you like lash out, it'd be weird.
But so
it'd be
much
awesome.
scope for stuff like that, and I think
that'd be really cool.
That's one thing that Nintendo have always been good at, and that's like the innovation side of things. And
I'm surprised we've not seen more of it, though, to be honest. But I mean, going back to your point where you kind of said that the graphics and stuff might be a bit janky, I don't know if that's kind of part of the charm. I mean, when I think back to when I started playing video games, I don't know. I think somehow the really bad graphics made it that much scarier to me. I don't know. It's like, I know these days we've got like photorealistic stuff going on, which is great, but I kind of think back to like the original Resi games and House of the Dead and all that sort of stuff. Like that used to scare the absolute shit out of me when they just like those zombies appeared.
I remember dreaming about zombies after playing the Resi games.
Yeah, but I mean, it was, when you look at it, it's not that scary now, is it, compared to what we can say? But Yeah, I mean, that sounds insane. I don't know why more games haven't taken that on. Maybe they've patented it somehow or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, definitely the sanity meter. They decided that was it. That was Nintendo's thing, and they weren't going to let anybody else do it. But Richard's thing of having the game start to mess with your controller, getting it to do things that you wouldn't expect, getting your... I'm sure there'd be a way around that.
I reckon it's probably just around the corner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I reckon it's closer than we think.
With the PS5 triggers and that kind of stuff, quite easily.
Oh, it's so good.
I think as well, with the success of the Switch, I mean, the GameCube was great, but didn't sell as well. But with the success of the Switch, I think even just like a HD remaster would sell so much.
For sure,
I'd
definitely. In looking at the way games get distributed these days, it could be one that, if it is taken out of Nintendo's hands, could end up as a remaster on PS5, on the Xbox, just on the game store somewhere, because it's a hidden gem, really. Richard,
yes,
are you next, or is it Charlie, or have I made this up? I think it might be Charlie.
I think it's Charlie.
It is Charlie. Fantastic.
I think it is me.
One job, Jonno.
One job. I remembered lots about Eternal Darkness, but not the order of who was going in the podcast. Just absolute potato.
You're just going insane. That's what it is.
That's it. It will revert 30
His
seconds.
sanity meter is...
Yeah.
If you don't take the opportunity to edit this so that it goes back and confuses the shit out of everyone, you've done something wrong. Just saying.
How meta is that? How meta is that? I love that.
They go full circle.
You're welcome, folks.
Thanks, Rich.
Cool. So I have decided to talk about Outlast. Played it much later than its release date. It was released in 2014. Only played it during lockdown last year for the first time. And no, it was a no from me. So you think about games like Resident Evil, Fear. It reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. In the sense that you're going into a creepy old house or building and you've got to explore it. However, the difference with Outlast is you have absolutely naff all in the way of weapons. You have a video camera with night vision and the feet with the shoes that you have on them to run away. And it's just, you basically go to the premise of the story is you're a news, you're an investigative journalist and you go to an old asylum to go in and investigate the weird goings on. And it turns out the military have been there and they didn't fare too well. Brilliant. There's something a little bit odd about this asylum. So military vehicles everywhere. But still, this guy's going, do you know what? I've got my trusty video camera. I'm going in anyway. No military training, no weapon. I'm going in anyway.
Good
and
decision.
Off he goes into, yeah, great. I mean, no, not for me. And yeah, you just encounter a lot of not very nice things. There's a lot when you're going through it. There was a lot of moments where I kind of stopped and there'd be like a noise or like something would happen in a vent or you just see something kind of run past a door and you just be like, no, I'm staying in here. That's me. I'm done. Thank you very much. I would stay here. I mean, personally, if it was me, I would never have even gone into the goddamn building in the first place. But as the character,
just don't look at the thing and pretend it's not there. That's the logic.
Yeah, and I think the thing that scares me about it the most is I think the concept of it is genius because in pretty much every other game of its type that's similar, you have a weapon and your mission is to run in, all guns blazing, and bury bullets into as many zombies, inmates, whatever, as you possibly can. With this game, it's a little bit smarter in the sense that you've got to investigate and solve mysteries and little puzzles and stuff. But there's so many scenes where you walk into a room and you're just like, oh, that's someone just sitting in a wheelchair. That's interesting. Or just staring at a TV that's making white noise. But then you walk out of a corridor and there's just someone stood at the end of it and you're like, oh, good, okay, good, brilliant. I'm just going to run. And there are some horrendous chase scenes in it. Like you trigger like a chase scene. There's one of the bits that scared me the most is you're in complete pitch darkness and you've got to run from this inmate who's got a big old stick type weapon, and you've got to restart the generator to get the power back in the asylum.
Yeah.
But he literally sees you at every given opportunity. So you've got to run, hide in locker, hide under a bed, run away, run into the next. And it's just, there's some brilliant moments in it, but it's, you know, when you sit there and you play something and you go, oh, run quicker. It's that kind of thing. And I did have to pause it quite a few times when I played it because it literally made me go, oh my God, and just pause it. Like, I think in the first lockdown, because Dan's originally from Birmingham, for those that don't know, he was in Brum, I was in Nottingham for 3 months, and I sent him a video of me playing it. Or we were on FaceTime or something, or I sent you a video, and it was literally me just going, oh my God, no, that's not good. Oh my God, like, no.
I think my favorite point watching you play Outlast at all time is, for those who have played it will know exactly what I mean, meeting the twins in the cell block.
No.
And that is the reaction. The twins are one of those enemies in a game where you'll meet them and just like, you know what? I'm out. Turn off the console. I don't need to deal with that today.
I mean, I think in the same way that Jonno said, in terms of graphics, it's a little bit janky now by today's standard, especially now we're onto like the PS5 and everything. But it still stands up. It's still a really good game, and it's got a sequel. And I think then it's got there's Outlast 2 and then Outlast Trinity. Not sure what Outlast Trinity is. Haven't played that one. Somebody's probably going to be screaming at the podcast.
I mean, I could tell.
But it's well worth playing, and it is something different. Like I said, it's not your typical go into an abandoned house with a buck ton of weapons, just go, yeah, I'm going to shoot everyone. It is literally night vision camera, terrifying shit, the end.
Helpless, just the entire time.
It is brilliant though.
To
well
me,
worth
it
the play if you
literally
haven't
just
played
sounds like Wreck the game. Like that's
pretty
all
much.
it sounds like to me.
In many ways, that's what it is. Has anyone actually played? I know Dan's played it because Dan introduced me to it. Have the rest of you guys played it?
Played bits. Right, little bits. So pretty much, apart from the twins reference, pretty much everything you said, I remember. I vaguely remember stumbling across one guy at one point and like, oh, okay, yeah, his dick's out. That's a thing. Okay. Like it's a world of Nope. It's the same kind of feeling that I get with like I played a bit of Amnesia as well at one point. A lot less terrifying if you play it with the meme version where you're getting chased by like the trollolol guy and stuff like that. Or to an extent, Slenderman as well is very much the same kind of thing where you're just like, oh, and okay, I'm like it's.
I think the chase bits are like usually the scariest bits. I mean, for me especially, like you can get like big boss fights and stuff, but I suppose you usually, unless you're like Dan, who's superhuman great at games, but you usually die at least once, so you kind of replay it. So I suppose in some ways that removes the tension, but you being chased by something, that's literally nightmares, like right there, isn't it? So
especially when you can't fight back.
Yeah, there's a big thing. I will actually talk about the sequel quickly because we're on it. So the sequel doesn't really follow on. It kind of does. But you're basically in a cult. You're a reporter investigating a cult.
Brilliant.
And you get
this isn't the same reporter, though, is it? Because this guy's hella dumb if he just keeps doing this shit.
It's a history of bad luck. There's sometimes the newspaper just shouldn't send him, but it's a different reporter, and he gets his wife gets kidnapped by this cult, and it's just, if there are people who have played the second one who listen to this who will know exactly what I mean, where people think the first one is full of Nope. The second one has haunted me since I played it. Big words.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
I think
because it's fun.
It is fun. I mean, it is a lot of fun, and it does. I like games to get a scare out of me, like to get a reaction out of me, because I think being like a horror filmmaker, horror actress, massive horror fan, it takes a lot to scare me. And yeah, this game properly like made me go, nope, don't like that.
I think that's where games stand apart, though, isn't it, from films? I mean, which is obviously different as talking about it on here. But like a film, I don't know, you're not controlling the way that you view it so much.
Yeah, you're not involved in it,
and like you literally choosing to go down a corridor, seeing something at the end of the corridor, and then going, "Yeah, I'm not going that way," going the other way, and then finding more nope. You're just like, so it's I don't know, it's I think it's a very different but great experience, isn't it, as a horror fan?
Yeah, I mean, if people haven't played Outlast, thoroughly recommend it, because you can get it pretty much on every platform.
Pretty cheap now as well,
which is good. You can, I think it's on the PlayStation Store for like naffle money, but you can get it on the Xbox, and you can download it through Steam as well.
Switch 100% port of it as well.
I feel like we need to have like an Outlast party, because I feel like that would be something we'd all enjoy, just watching each other run away from shit together. So we should get that together. That'd be
the beauty of it as well is the fact that as much fun as it is playing a game and scaring the shit out of yourself, it's even more fun to watch the person next to you play it and scream. It's so much fun.
Exactly.
So I assume Outlast, am I right in thinking it's first person?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that with that games can do that cinema doesn't as much. I mean, I understand where they've got the Rec comparison from. That kind of first person thing where it's your eyes, you're looking around. But especially if you're playing it on something like a PC, when the screen is literally 12 inches from your face, you've got headphones on, the room's dark. I remember playing a game called Condemned, which absolutely ruined me, because it was one of those moments where I was playing it with headphones on and my mates were watching because they knew what was coming up. And they were constantly there just in my ear going, oh, something's going to happen. And obviously it wasn't at that point. And then as soon as I let my guard down, just bang, straight out of this locker. And there was stuff in that game. There was like mannequins that just slowly turn their heads as you walk through them. It was wonderful.
That's worse.
Love it.
The creepy shit's worse than the jump scares.
I always remember a video. I think it must have been potentially before. It might have been before YouTube was a thing. It was definitely before YouTube was established. It was when it was difficult to find videos on the internet, and it was just called Scary Doom 3, and it was just a video of a guy. It obviously screen recorded him playing Doom 3, and it was just his voice, just running around, just screaming. Just everything just jumping out at him.
That's pretty much me playing Outlast, to be honest. So yeah, we should definitely have an Outlast party.
I'm just saying, it's definitely why we shouldn't give Charlie the microphone if a Let's Play happens.
Well, we should. I think that's
on the other side of the room.
Give Charlie the microphone.
Oh dear.
That is a class choice. It's one that I haven't played, so I will probably get on that, especially if it's one that I can get on DLC somewhere. Liam, do you want to throw yours into the ring?
Yeah, mine's probably a bit more of a fun choice. I feel like you guys have gone like to pure terror, but I've kind of gone a bit happier, I guess. I've gone for the Friday the 13th game, released back in 2017. So I think this is a rare example of where a game has been adapted from a film as opposed to vice versa. I mean, aside from the absolutely terrifying Harry Potter games, which we all know and love.
Oh.
But
back to the dormitory.
100%. No, you were going to do that.
You're
swear
welcome.
to God, I think a good year of my childhood was just spent stuck on one level of Harry Potter, just trying to figure out what I needed to flipendo. So.
It wasn't the bit with that bloody ball, was it? Because that took me ages.
No, I think I was at the Weasley's house and you had to like blast a tree and then the tree fell down and then you could walk across the tree to get to the next level. But me being me, just thought there was a frigging tree there and I didn't realize I could flipendo it. So that's PTSD right there. That you've triggered me. Trigger warning, everyone. But yeah, so Friday the 13th. I don't know. I kind of got back into games briefly. Like, I mean, I'm not a big gamer myself, but I ended up getting a PS4 pretty much just for this game when it came out. And it was between that and I think Dead by Daylight as well was another thing that was quite attractive to me. But I will say I haven't been the biggest fan of Dead by Daylight. I think they've got more characters, but playing it, I don't find it as fun. But essentially, I don't know if have any of you guys played it, the Friday the 13th game?
Yes.
Yes.
I haven't played it. It's in my downloads, like, and I think it was free with PlayStation Plus at one point, but I still haven't played it. I've been meaning to.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think a lot of people are getting it now. I think it's on Switch now as well. That was kind of like maybe one of the more recent kind of releases of it, but, it's really good because obviously I'm a huge film fan. So then seeing some of the locations, characters, that sort of thing from the film franchise in the game, I thought was ace. Essentially, I'd probably say the best way to play it would be to play online. So you're kind of thrown in with like random people. But the premise is essentially the maps will be locations from the different films, and you either get chosen to play as Jason or you play as counselors, and you have like different ways to either defeat Jason, or obviously if you are him, you have to just go around and kill all the counselors, which is hella fun. But I don't know. I think it was what stood out to me, and I think maybe elevated it a bit more above some of the other games that are out there, was the fact that they also involved a lot of people involved with the film. So Kane Hodder, who's played Jason more than anyone in the franchise, he actually did some mocap stuff for the kills. So
that's cool.
Like I think there was a Kickstarter and stuff for it at the time, so that they could get extra like money to do extra kills and extra skins for Jason and all that sort of jazz when it was released. And there was all these really cool videos at the time. I can remember watching them where he's actually just frigging killing people, and then you see it in the game, which is ace. Tom Savini made a skin for Jason as well. He did the makeup effects on the original. So yeah, it was. I think it's a really good game. It is incredibly buggy, particularly if you actually manage to get the car and try and get out of the map. It's hella difficult, but unfortunately, it's wrapped up in legal battles now because of the whole Friday the 13th legal thing that's going on. So there's not going to be any more updates. But Bloody Disgusting released a recent article on some of the plans that were in the pipeline. So I definitely recommend checking that out because it's kind of what could have been. But it's, yeah, great game. I like it.
So when you play online then, are you able to converse with the other counsellors?
I think if you're near them, you can hear them.
Oh, that's
or
cool.
if you get a walkie-talkie and they have a walkie-talkie, you can kind of plan. You find like walkie-talkies, maps. There's weapons you can pick up. You can like turn on the radio, so Jason hears the radio and goes to that, and set up like bear traps and stuff. So it is. I don't know. It is quite cool how it feels real.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a safe way of being in a slasher film, which is ace. But yeah, it's good fun, and the kills are absolutely amazing sometimes as well.
So are the kills all sort of
graphic.
related to where you are on the map? So if you're next to something, does Jason use it, or?
I think yeah, in some places it also depends on whoever's obviously playing as Jason. I think there's different combinations of how you can kill people. So like depending on what buttons you press, it will do different things to people as well.
Sweet. Kind of like a really grim version of FIFA celebrations where you press
pretty much, yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't have played it better myself.
Yeah.
So you
that needs to be a mod.
So you mentioned the bear trap thing.
FIFA or Friday the 13th?
Both. I'm thinking
Jason
maybe I have played
standing
it
on his knees with his shirt over his head.
Originally I said I hadn't played it, but now I'm thinking maybe I have. I thought I'd played Dead by Daylight, but the bear traps and the radio thing is making me say maybe played this one.
I think there are bear traps as well on Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight's the one where obviously there's a ton of different killers. There's like some original killers which are great, but then they have rights to like Michael Myers, Scream, Leatherface, Freddy, all of that as well.
They've just got Stranger Things as well, haven't they, recently?
Yes, which is amazing.
Resident Evil, I think they've just done a Resident Evil one as well. A bunch of different stuff. I've seen them cropping up. I'm
seeing a bit more of like a resurgence because I to be fair, like a lot of the way I hear about games or whatever is I'll probably either see it on YouTube or TikTok. And I think Dead by Daylight's getting like a bit of a resurgence in like popularity. I'm seeing a lot more of it. But yeah, I don't know if I preferred Friday the 13th, the game, just because I don't know. I feel like Dead by Daylight kind of spread their content a bit thin, because the maps weren't necessarily always specific. I know like now you can get like the Stranger Things map and stuff, but I don't know. Overall I just found Friday the 13th a lot more fun. But yeah, you might have played it. You'll have to let me know. We'll have to play it sometime because it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Are we getting any feedback again?
No, I think we're good.
Is there anything on your end, Charlie?
Not from us, no.
Liam?
No, but I think I did just hear something. There was something. Yeah, it was there again.
Yeah, there it is.
Bloody hell.
Are we going to have to re-record the whole episode?
It's annoying. It's just kind of, I don't know how it's coming from like the headphones, but it sounds like it's coming from the corner, which is weird. Oh, it's Nicolas Cage. It's Cage Corner. It's happened.
Oh, bloody hell.
I wish the people at home could have seen Dan and Charlie's face.
I was watching the entire thing unfold. That was glorious.
Oh. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Nicolas Cage. And this month, I'd like to just rewind a little bit to something that I talked about a few episodes ago, where Nicolas Cage, he's got a new film coming out. It's called Pig. He plays a truffle hunter who lives alone in the wilderness, and his prized truffle hunting pig gets kidnapped, and he has to go and find it. Now,
so he's the Liam Neeson of the pig world.
He is the Liam Neeson of the pig world. Yeah, not Taken. It's Bacon.
Oh
God!
That's enough of that.
My brain went. He has a particular set of swills.
Oh no!
Dan can come back.
Oh man!
Thank you and good night.
So I saw the kind of the jargon and all the blurb for this film way before any sort of trailer came out, and in my head this was going to be Nicolas Cage going down one of his sort of paychecky, I'm going to take the money and run kind of routes. And now the trailer's come out, and oh my goodness.
Oscar winner.
This is a serious film. No, like it's one of those films where in the trailer, it actually comes up and says, with Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Personally, I don't know why that doesn't come up more.
I know, every time.
That should just be the trailer.
Yeah,
for everything.
I mean, the weird thing is that they've got the pig from Babe to be the pig, but you know. No, they haven't, Liam.
Oh my lord. I was like, what? That's insane. But then I thought, no, that pig's long dead now, isn't it? And then I got really sad.
I'm so sorry. But
there's a point where maybe the pig should be named in the trailer.
Oh, 100%.
As what?
Introducing.
Yeah.
I want
the name of the pig.
I want to see Nicolas Cage and just like
introducing the pig.
The pig.
But genuinely, I can't quite get my head around it because it looks like it's taken the subject matter really, really seriously. It does not look light at all. It looks like there's zero room for any levity.
What worries me though is the fact that it is straight and then it becomes a cult comedy because it is too straight in the way it approaches a kidnapped pig story.
I think this is the issue. It also seems to go heavy on the food theme. Like there's a lot of shots of Nicolas Cage preparing just really beautiful looking food, which I wasn't expecting.
Nicolas Cage playing with his truffles.
Yeah. Loves his truffles. And also apparently dry ice.
Yeah.
He pours that over everything. So, you know, in case you want a little bit of
genuinely,
spice.
we're just looking at we're looking at the poster for it. Even the poster takes itself too frigging seriously.
It looks
the
like it should be like
strapline
an A24 film. Honestly.
Yeah. The strapline says, we don't get a lot of things to really care about.
And it's just Nicolas Cage's big old face.
I'm down for this.
Big old face with a big old beard and just the word pig on his chin.
Like if this is the Nicolas Cage version of Tony Jaa Warrior King, where at the end we have a massive fight scene up a load of stairs and he just bursts in and just shouts, "Where's my pig?"
Yes.
I'm down.
Where's my elephant?
Where's my elephant?
Is anyone else hopeful that it does turn out to just be John Wick but with a pig? Because that's kind of where I want this to go.
Absolutely.
That's what I was.
Absolutely. And if it isn't, I'm going to be, I think, horrendously disappointed.
To be fair, Nicolas Cage is breathtaking.
Yay! Hey,
You're
breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
What's even better is he's actually going for like the John Wick style. It's like the beard coming in, the slicked back hair. It's going to be John Wick with a pig.
I'm there for that.
I am so there for that.
I'm trying to find a release date for people, but the only one I can get is July the 16th in America. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm also enjoying on IMDb. It's also got the also known as section, and for some reason they've felt the need to put Germany, Canada, India, Mexico alternate titles and still just put pig.
Well, no, I mean, can you deliver how it might sound in Germany?
Is pig just fine? Isn't it?
It would be. I'm sure it would be.
Yeah.
Fine.
Like,
fine.
Anyway, we'll stop there because I imagine someone will moan.
Amazing.
Shall we move away from the corner that is Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, bye for now. Bye for now.
You go back.
Until next time.
I don't know why I look at the corner when I do it. I have to imagine he's there.
Method acting. That's what you're doing.
I'm back in your box.
I think if Nicolas Cage was actually in the corner of your room, you would no longer be presenting this podcast. You would just be in the corner with him.
I don't know. I think
covered in his own fluids.
This is Eternal Darkness all over again. Like Jonno is just imagining him in the corner.
Yeah,
the thing is, he's just shouting, "How'd it get burned?"
Oh no!
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? So,
do you reckon he'll do that, but just with bacon in this film?
Yes. Like, he's just really angry that he's.
Oh no! Just a pan of bacon.
Yes. I'm very excited.
What was that noise?
It's one of Nicolas Cage noises.
Oh dear.
Let's get back to video games. And I imagine, I don't know, I probably should have looked into the fact as whether Nicolas Cage has actually appeared in any video games. He might have appeared in the Spider-Man one, maybe, if they did a Into the Spider-Verse
Google
spin-off.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. But let's move on to Richard's choice of scary game.
So for me, it's going to be a little bit of a cheat because I have chosen kind of a franchise that we've spoken about a lot already during this podcast, the Resident Evil franchise. Personally, I haven't played the first one, which is probably blasphemy. I tried. I couldn't get on with the weird camera angles. I'd love a remake where it actually plays properly, so I could actually witness the story. That would be great. But I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil 2.
Wow.
A lot of Resident Evil 2 the last week or so, and scaring the shit out of myself with just Mr. X just stomping around the police station, and it's absolute filth. I hate it. Every time I hear him coming, I'm like, well, that's me bollocks. Run away.
I'm done.
I'm gonna just hide in this room for a little bit, and then I leave, and then I instantly hear the footsteps again, and I'm like, well, this sucks. But the big one for me, particularly when I was growing up, so it would have been year 11, I think, was Resident Evil 4. That is the one that has always stuck with me. It's one of those games that you either know it or you don't, and generally the way to tell if someone knows it or not is by simply saying, "What are you buying?" And then people will either get it or they won't. Every time.
Got some nice things for you, stranger.
I'll buy it at a high price. Just so good. Welcome. Like, amazing. Absolutely amazing. But that game, like, I mean, I'd have been 15, 16 and it still scared the shit out of me. awful. I think it was something to do with the fact that you couldn't move and shoot at the same time. That really did me in. So it's like you'd like run about 3 steps, turn around, like pop a couple of people in the head, and they keep coming. And then you're like, nah, I've got to run again, and now I'm backed into a corner, and that guy has a chainsaw. This is the worst. I think, you know, it's probably come as no surprise that I've chosen a bit of a zombie franchise.
Do you like zombies?
Expect nothing less.
Like, I
like
love
zombies though.
No, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're a bit on the fence about it. Personally,
yeah.
but,
I love the films as well. They're a bit of a guilty pleasure. Like they're shit. Let's be honest, but they're great because they're shit. So
I think they had their
really
moments. Did you see the Corridor Crew episode where they did the visual effects and they went back to Afterlife recently? Yeah. I didn't realize like how janky that looks. Like, I mean, I hate to look at the film, but how faithful they actually were to the cinematics of the games really surprised me.
I didn't realize.
I thought it was great.
The bit with the sunglasses.
Yes,
which looks so much better in the game.
Yeah, which was a shame. Wasn't it? But yeah. No, I also appreciate the films. I like them.
They're pretty good. I think the whole franchise, I mean, it's obviously done so well for a reason. But they just keep switching it up with what they're doing, which I think is great. Every single Resi game I've played has been completely different. It's had something new to it. So off the top of my head, I have played 2, 4, 5, I think a bit of 6, but I couldn't really get on with it. I played most of most of Biohazard at a friend's house in VR. We'll come back to that. That's absolute filth. And I've gone back to playing that at home recently and not gotten very far yet because I keep having to put it down because it's terrifying. And then I played the demo for 8 before I got a PS5, so it will be my next purchase.
It's so good.
I mean, the demo scared the shit out of me, so I'm all for this. And obviously, everyone seems very, very thirsty for the Lady Vampire as well at the moment. Yeah. So I'm like, I can get behind this.
Definitely designed by a room of men, wasn't it?
But yeah, Biohazard in VR is really quite something. It's awful. Absolutely. Especially like, you know, if you've got the VR with the headphones on as well, so it's full surround sound. Oh no.
See, I think just the bit with Jack, I'd just be like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Get in the bin. Get out of my brain. Get out of my eyes. No. Be gone.
Welcome to the family, son. Awful. Absolutely awful.
Bye.
You know, just, so I remember, I was playing at a friend's house and he said to me, okay, this bit scared out of me and you're playing it in VR, so this is going to be worse. So I'm going to warn you that when you get to the top of the stairs, she will appear. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And so I'm going up the stairs really slowly, waiting for this jump scare, watching the door going, that's going to open and I'm going to shit myself. And I got to the top of the stairs and the door still hadn't opened and she came round the corner right in front of me. I'm fairly certain I screamed. I might have even thrown the VR headset across the room. It was awful. Absolutely awful.
See, that's my fear of VR, that I'll spend all this money on a headset and I'll end up playing a horror game and just fully yeeting it at a wall and just game over. 200 quid headset. Just broken.
I think it's the danger, isn't it, with that kind of thing? That, or, you know, there'll be someone who just happens to be in front of you as you go, oh, and just punch them like square in the face. And you're like, I'm really sorry. I've seen videos of people, like there was one guy who was playing pool in VR and he kind of went to lean on the table and it obviously wasn't there and he fell flat on his face and it was fantastic. So that kind of thing for horror stuff will be, it's the worst. I played a little bit of Alien Isolation in VR as well, and that was also horrendous.
Oh god. No.
Yeah, I got attacked in the vent, and that was not fun.
I remember the second, speaking of Alien Isolation, the second I knew I was done with that game I think Liam, you and I were playing it together, and you can hide in the lockers from the bloody androids. So we were like, excellent, let's get in the locker. We're fine. Android walks past the locker and we were like, good, we're safe. Let's just wait here just in case. Next thing, it drags us out of the locker, and I think the PlayStation control went across the room and we both sat on the sofa screaming our heads off. And it was not, it was not okay.
Just to tag on
so
to that,
I would not play that in VR.
I've got to be honest, I've still not played any more of Biohazard since we played Biohazard, Charlie, which is like several years ago now, because it was just terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
It was the swimming under the thing, and I knew what was going to happen because I played ahead a little bit. So I knew that, like, the bit with the head that comes up. So I was sat there going,
yeah, I remember that bit.
I know it's going to happen. And then the head popped up. And I remember Liam just going, no, absolutely not. No, I'm done.
Just disgusting.
There's one bit one bit in Biohazard every time. And I'm just going to say Marguerite.
Oh,
that is it.
Yeah.
She can get in the bin and set the bin on fire.
I think the thing that makes me laugh is how calm Ethan is. Like, there's so many times, like, he makes a sly comment about something. Any rational, normal human being would just go, you know what, life's been fun, but I think this is the end.
Yeah.
To be honest, in regards to Biohazard, I would not be going after Mia if I was Ethan. I'd be like, you've been missing for 2 years. And now you're sending me a random video going, oh, I'm alive, I'm here. I'd be like, do you know what, you stupid bitch? Get yourself out. See you later. Bye. I've moved on with my life.
On to the next one.
Yeah. Like, I might have turned up, but I'd have taken one look at the house and gone, nah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, no.
Like,
she's not worth it. No one's worth that.
No.
This is some Texas Chainsaw Sawyer
100%. Yeah. And as soon as I got my hands on a gun, I'd just be like, goodbye, cruel world. This has been nice.
Yeah, like,
it's been real nice.
And if that wasn't the moment, there would be multiple moments along the way where you just go, I'm out. Like when you're sat at the dinner table at the start and Jack just lops his son's arm off and you're like, cool. So these guys are normal. Yeah. Cool. This can only go well.
Just be like, if I
just ask nicely,
just kill me.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
You know, it's the sheer tension of that game. Like the stuff where you're just trying to sneak around to get to where you need to be, and then you just hear something, and you're like, oh no, and then
there's
you're trying to run.
Much more of that in Village, though.
Yeah.
I mean, not to spoil it, but. You would have played the demo. You said you played the demo, Rich, but like the lady, is it Dimitri? I'm going to butcher her name.
Demetrescu.
That.
Something like that.
What Dan just said. Like, talking of Mr. X, she's got serious Mr. X vibes. You would just be chilling, walking around the castle going, right, I need to solve this puzzle. And then you'll just hear her like, there he is! And you're like, hell, not again, run away!
Also this thing of thinking you're safe in certain rooms.
No,
that's no longer in Village.
Excellent, good.
You ain't safe
I
anywhere.
liked that with Mr. X. It's sort of going away from Resident Evil a little bit, but based on the idea of tension and just hearing something and going, oh. I've been playing The Last of Us Part 2 recently, and just I can't remember what they're called, but when you just hear them start whistling to each other and you just go, does that mean that they seen me? What does that mean? Because they just communicate via whistles. So you'd just be, footling along quite happy, and then you'll just hear, and I'm like, what does that mean? Like you literally stop, you lie down and you're like, do they know where I am? And then you'll get hit with an arrow and you're like, yeah, they know where I am, shit. And then you run and filth. Absolutely.
Sorry, you go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
No, I'm just bouncing off The Last of Us. There is no sound more terrifying than one of the clickers, though.
The clickers in the first one.
Yeah.
Nope. Get out. I'm still stuck because Past Me hates myself because Past Me decided to save The Last of Us Part 1 at a point where I had full ammo, full health, and a bunch of clickers to get past. So I was like, well done, Past Me, you
You did what I did and used up all of your shifts, and then I only got past it when I accidentally got knocked through the door that I needed to go through.
Yay! We love to see it.
Yeah, it's awful, absolutely awful.
Love that for you.
Yeah, we've gotten off topic, but I had to throw that one in there as well because it's just awful. I'm excited to play Village. I'm very excited to play Village. From a graphical standpoint, it is absolutely gorgeous. And that was on the PS4, so I kind of need to replay the demo on the PS5 now just to see how it looks.
I think you're right in what you said, Rich, about how Resi's definitely one of those franchises that hasn't been afraid to move with the times, and it's evolved and it's used the new consoles to just the fullest. Whereas, some games you think, they're just going to churn out another one because it sells, and they've actually had the nuts to kind of go, you know what, we're going to change it up. We're going to do something different. And the Village looks disgusting. I can't wait.
Disgusting.
I think we've got to that point where Dan is going to come in. He's going to swoop in and he's going to
steal the show.
Us, with his choice.
No pressure.
None at all. So I have picked something that actually at the current time is actually quite interesting because there are rumours of a new one, and it is Dead Space.
I've heard these.
I know. There's even a remaster would be amazing, because Dead Space, I think, is one of those games that just the more you play it, just the more you think about it, and it just disturbs you so much.
It's not okay.
I think the fact of how it's almost, because there's no sort of HUD, everything that you need to know about your character is on his person. So his health, how much ammo he's got, everything is there. And to people who maybe haven't played it, it is sort of these demonic creatures that have sprouted so many more limbs than is needed, all very sharp, and all can very much stab you.
It's massively unnecessary, the amount of limbs.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And the genius mechanic of any other zombie game would be shoot him in the head and you're done with. This game, however, turns around and says, no, you have to cut off all their limbs.
Of which there are 800.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But just obviously, it's with a name like Dead Space, it'd obviously be sci-fi. But just it being set on just this dilapidated spaceship, so alien, so Event Horizon, terrifying. That when you're just out there on your own and you're just being surrounded by these demonic creatures, it's like Resident Evil. You're just like, I'm just going to give up.
It's like Resident Evil in space.
Yeah,
Gross.
You are terrified of every creak, every single noise that you might hear. It might just be the case of a floorboard creaks and you are throwing your controller across a room from pure terror alone.
Do you not think that part of what makes horror games so good, though, is actually sound design? I know that we've spoken about graphics, but to me, I think the sound, and we've kind of all mentioned it in our own way with every game we've talked about, the sound is what scares the shit out of us. Just the things you hear or how
it's
interactive
your first
it is.
inclination that something's happening, isn't it? You just hear a creak and you go, the was that?
Yeah.
And you every time you stop, you go, we
always joke, don't we, that when you have a film and the soundtrack kind of gives hints that something bad's going to happen. You're like, why don't they listen to the music? Obviously the characters can't hear it, but it's just the sound, like you said, Liam, is, and it's the first hint that shit's about to go down and it's not good.
I don't know who said it, but there's a director a horror director who always said, if you don't want to be scared of a horror film, or in obviously this case a horror game, you don't cover your eyes, you cover your ears.
That's so true.
And obviously you can't you can't maybe do that when you're playing a game.
I think that's it, isn't it?
But yeah,
you're much more likely to be sat playing a game with your headphones on and really being immersed into it than you are with a film. With a film, you can sort of do that thing where I'm going to turn it down for a sec. The scary bit's gone. I'm going to turn it back up.
The number of times I've sat in the cinema and just like put my fingers in my ears because I can sense that something's about to happen. I'll just sit there with my fingers in my ears because I'm like, no, if I can't hear it, it's not scary.
I think going back to Dead Space there, I think the thing that Dan said that I didn't realise, because I've not played Dead Space, is the lack of the heads-up display. So how does that kind of work out?
So you basically have he's in a like an armored suit. He's an engineer. He's not this big brave soldier who can walk in with all the guns and save the day. He's a space engineer. So all his weapons are made. So your basic weapon is called a plasma cutter, which is basically the tool that they would use to cut through support beams and stuff on the spaceships. So when he's got his health, it's basically a large line up his back that goes from green to yellow to red, obviously saying you're about to die. There's also there's a gameplay mechanic where obviously these creatures are very fast and very deadly. So you have what is called a stasis beam, which allows you to slow down them. And that is also a resource that is shown on your back. So when it's no heads up display, you're constantly keeping an eye on, like with Resident Evil 4, it's sort of, you're keeping your eye on the back of the character, but that is basically telling you how much health have I got, how much ammo, and basically how am I going to stay alive in the next section.
Yeah, and I guess it removes that bit that tells you this is a game, because when you're playing a game, you have a mini map in the corner, you've got your health bar, you've got your ammo count, it's all safe.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it sounds like you just kind of left to your own kind of devices and you go, right, go on, fend for yourself. Off you go.
Yeah, even when you pull up your map, the game doesn't pause. So if you think that you can sort of be surrounded by enemies,
nope,
and pull up your map to go, okay, let's just have a breather, you've got no chance.
10 times worse when you do it by accident in that moment as well.
Yeah.
Shit. Like just trying to find the button to get rid of it while you're being eviscerated, and you're like, shit. Well,
oh dear.
Scrambling with a controller in your hand.
And I think there's as well, like you're saying that it's set on a space station.
Yeah, basically an old dilapidated space station. So it's not just, I'm on a spaceship. It's obviously a space station built for people to live. So there's like nurseries and medibays. So there's nurseries in there. If you think that it's just adults that might have been infected by this virus, it's not. There are some demonic children on that thing.
Brilliant. But that's
always
class,
love a demonic child. Can't beat them.
I think that's probably another thing then that like is kind of a classic of the horror genre, isn't it? It's that space station sort of vibe where you've got a location for a game that you cannot get out of. Like you can't just in Resident Evil Biohazard, Richard said you'd sort of get there and you'd go, nah, I'm done. If you're on a space station, you can't just hop out. Yeah. You're going to pop.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I'd prefer that, to be honest.
I was going to say that would be preferable. Like,
just pop
demonic
yourself.
children.
Yeah. Bye. It's been real cool.
Weirdly enough, though, the premise of Dead Space is the same as Resident or Biohazard. It's he's going there to look for his girlfriend.
Oh, stop
but
it!
As soon, like even on the spaceship,
for goodness sake,
why are these dedicated men always trying to do it? Like,
don't look at me. I didn't end up on a spaceship surrounded by demonic aliens. Thank you very much.
No, but
not
I think
yet.
Danny's
It definitely
saying
took
because he wouldn't come.
Not yet.
Even on a spaceship in the dead of space, I'd still just go, where's the closest airlock, and how quickly can it jettison me out?
Yeah.
So you're saying you wouldn't rescue me if I got myself into a Dead Space or Resident Evil search?
Let's not play this game.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably the scariest game you could play, Dan. What you did right there.
Turn off the console, thank you.
I'm going to put it out there. I 100% would not. There we go.
No.
It's done. I'm out. I'm done.
Sorry,
It's been 2
Hayley.
years. It's happened.
You're not sat next to Hayley though, so you've wimped out there, mate.
Yeah, 100%. I've done well. So to round off our section on video games, I just want to point you in the direction of the Super Freak Media blog, where Charlie and Dan have come up with a lovely vlog all about horror games. They talk about Dead Space, they talk about a game called Little Nightmares, Outlast, Left 4 Dead, Alice Madness Returns, amongst others. Please go and check it out. It is pretty cool. So this month, as I mentioned at the start of the episode, we are going to introduce a new segment called Foreign Bodies, in which one of the team comes to the table with a film from overseas that maybe hasn't got the recognition that it deserves. And this month, bringing a film to the table, it's Liam Banks.
Thanks for that, Jonno. So my choice for this month's Foreign Bodies is The Orphanage, or El Orfanato. So The Orphanage is a 2007 Spanish film directed by J.A. Bayona, probably saying that wrong, and presented by Guillermo del Toro, who we absolutely love to see doing whatever he chooses to do. So the film tells the story of Laura, played brilliantly by Belén Rueda, who returns to her childhood home, which was once an orphanage for handicapped children. Laura looks then to raise her own adopted child, Simon, with her husband Carlos, and reopen the orphanage. Now, Simon tells his mother Laura that he's got several invisible friends, and desperately tries to show her their hiding place as Laura throws a party to reopen this house. At the party, Laura catches a glimpse of a mysterious masked boy, and as she discovers Simon has disappeared. So as the story unfolds, Laura begins to feel the presence of other people in the house, and questions if Simon's imaginary friends were more real than she first thought. So desperately trying to find the whereabouts of her son, the film delivers plenty of twists and turns, packing a punch when we reach our conclusion. There'll be no spoilers here, but I will say you definitely need to check it out and you will not regret it. A special highlight as well for the director, J.A. Bayona, again, saying it probably awfully. He since went on to direct a fair amount of English language films, with The Impossible in 2012, A Monster Calls in 2016, and most recently Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in 2018. He's also set to direct 2 episodes of the upcoming Amazon extravaganza, the Lord of the Rings series. And a special mention as well to a music video that he directed back in 2012, which I absolutely love. It's for Keen's song Disconnected, which just basically plays out like a 70s Giallo film. It's absolutely gorgeous to watch. As a director, I think he has a great sense for treading the line between those great moments of horror and deep, meaningful emotion. And even back in 2007, with The Orphanage, his talent and his way to balance that mix was really apparent. So this film is sure to simultaneously terrify you and break your heart. Has anyone seen it?
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
I have, yeah.
Nope.
I actually have.
I have not.
Yeah,
What?
you
Richard's
have.
seen it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd clearly misremembered it because for some reason in my head it was a French film. But no, yeah, you're definitely right. It was Spanish.
Je m'appelle Simon.
Like, I remember really enjoying it. Really enjoying it.
Did we watch it together, Rich? Or did I lend it?
Might have done.
'Cause
Maybe.
Yeah.
I watched it on DVD. I know that much.
Yeah, I think I must have lent it. Yeah, but that Liam, annoyingly, it's the one that I would have brought to the table had it been.
Yeah, well, I beat you to
my
it, didn't I?
segment.
So suck on that. But yeah, no, honestly, I rewatched it today before obviously we recorded this, and I actually forgot like what an absolutely amazing film it was. Like it's just stylistically, story wise, everything. It's absolutely amazing film, and yeah, I think it deserves to be seen by a lot of people, and it doesn't deserve a remake.
We mentioned that, didn't we, last time on the remakes episode, that it's one of the kind of more successful overseas horror films that hasn't had an American/English language remake, and you know what? More power to it.
Definitely.
I watched it as so in the final year of my Spanish exam, we watched it as a sort of, here's how Spanish works in a conversation. So I put on that as a horror film.
Man. So did you just think that children just disappeared in Spain? Is that what you thought?
It was sort of like, oh, we've just found this film. It's about an orphanage, so it's absolutely going to be fine. So they put it on, and a lot of people walked out after realizing what it was about.
Oh, idiots. It's class.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I think the thing that I always remembered from it is the, just how scary it is in moments, but then also like 2 minutes later, it's like a fairy tale. It's I don't know. It's very Del Toro, I think, in the way it's balanced.
I'm going to have to watch it because I'm a big Del Toro fan, and I'm like kind of ashamed that I haven't seen it.
Honestly, it's gorgeous. And I mean, I'm sure we watched it, Jonno, when we were prepping for the copywriter.
I think we did.
Because I feel like we mentioned it a lot in like essays at uni. And I'm sure for some weird reason, I know that they CGI'd the roof in scenes. Like, I feel like we spoke about that. Like,
I remember this.
It was a set, but then they CGI'd the roof in.
Yeah,
but then that was like a lighting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Well worth your time, Charlie.
100%.
I will check it out.
So that brings to an end this month's podcast, in which we've talked about some awesome creepy video games. Liam has introduced us, well, some of us, Charlie, to the orphanage.
Wow, shade.
So all that is left to be said really is that if you want to win some Super Freak Media goodies, all you have to do is give the Instagram post that mentions this episode a like, and you'll be entered into the draw. And to say thank you to all of my guests this month, we've had Charlie Clark.
Thank you.
Richard Parker.
Nice one, dude.
Liam Banks.
Thank you.
And making his podcast debut, Dan Poppet.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you so much.
I think that was successful, Dan. I think that was all right. I think that was good.
Yeah.
Do you want to come back at any point, or are you done now? This is it.
Oh, well, if, of course, you'll have me back, I'd absolutely love to be back and talk about more spooky and terrifying things, video games or not.
Awesome. Sounds good to me. So, as always, keep it creepy and see you on the other side.
We're still not sure if we're doing it.
Every time.
I mean, you're just leaving me on my own, guys.
I think that's the best bit.
I didn't. I joined in.
Yeah, there was a delay.
It was like a pity join in.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like,
Well, I was leaving a gap for editing purposes if Jonno wants to edit it out. So,
any opportunity he has to edit us out, he'll do
yeah,
it.
100%. Bye.
Hi, my name is Jonno. It's my podcast.
get rid of that.
Done.
You've been listening to a podcast on the Super Freak Media Podcast Network. To show your support, be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. And you can find us on social media in the links in the description of this episode. Thank you for listening.